Ohio State is in the middle of another quarterback battle of the Ryan Day era. I'm Stephen Means. That's Andrew Gillis after day 5 of fall camp for the Buckeyes. We talked with the quarterbacks, which means we also talked with Devin Brown and Julian Sayin, who are the other two names who are realistically at this point in the battle to be Ohio State starting quarterback in 2024. I was at Julian Sayin. Andrew, you were at Devin Brown, who... This is his second quarterback battle in as many years, right? And I'm sure he was asked plenty of questions about why he stuck around, and I'm sure he had some animated things to say about that. What did Devin Brown have to say about how things have gone since spring ended and where he feels like he fits in at this point in the Ohio State's quarterback room?
You know, we're doing this video on the same day that the vice president was picked for the Democratic Party, and I think Devin Brown had a nice audition as a politician today because he was very, very Democratic. He was very, very just everything's great. I'm learning a lot. The coaches are great. The receivers are great. And that's kind of the way that I expected it to go, and I'm not begrudging him for that. I think that that's maybe the way that you should approach this. The one thing I thought that was interesting was he talked about just being in that third year and kind of having that ability to just know where to go. And there's less hesitancy there. He said he worked on some footwork in the offseason, and that footwork has kind of helped him become a better passer. And now that he is in this offense for a couple of years, now that he's been around the guys for a couple of years, now that he's seen some of these receivers that are elite for a few years, he said he just kind of feels comfortable. And told us that there hasn't really been a timeline discussed by the coaching staff, that the coaching staff hasn't really communicated to them, here's when we want to have a starter, or here's what we're looking for, or here's who we think it's going to be right now. Or there's been none of that, or at least he said there's been none of that. So I think he did his best to try and play diplomat. I think that, when you look at this quarterback battle, go watch one of our other videos. We talk about Will Howard as kind of maybe being that guy who has, the inside track right now. So I understand where Devin Brown is coming from. And I think right now it's about getting that number 2 job, and it's about earning that backup job, because you never know what could happen in the course of a season. I mean, this team might play more games than they've ever played before. So you want to be in that role just in case. But if you're also the backup, first couple of games, Ohio State's going to play Akron and Western Michigan and Marshall, and they're going to win those games by a lot of points, or at least they should. And they might beat Michigan State by a lot of points too, and they might beat a couple teams at the back end by a lot of points too. So you want to have that backup role solidified, because if you have that backup role solidified, you are next in line. And I think that is what maybe this camp is kind of becoming for Devin Brown, where you might not be able to get the starter job, but you really need to solidify yourself as the backup, because there is a very good freshman on this roster right now. And I think we didn't really learn anything from Devin Brown today, but I do think that third year confidence, that third year relaxation, if you will, I do think that matters.
Yeah, you can tell these quarterbacks were prepped today, and they knew what type of the type of questions they were going to get from us. With Julian saying there was a lot of tell us about Bama, right? He was at Bama for their college football playoff game. The NCAA a couple of years ago allowed freshmen to do that who were early enrolling to show up and be part of the playoff process. There were some guys on Ohio State's roster who did that back in 2022. Jermaine Matthews and Jelani Thurman were down there. So this is a pretty normal thing now for early enrollees to be able to do. So he did get to see that. He did get to play for Saban for a month there. And obviously Saban retires. He did not have a relationship with Kalen DeBoer and that staff at all, which is why he is no longer there. He wanted to go to Alabama to play for Nick Saban. When Nick Saban retired, the lack of a relationship during the recruiting process with Kalen DeBoer is why he went into the portal. He said he went into the portal. He waited 7 days, actually, to go into the portal, and then he was only in there for 2 days. So 9 days between Nick Saban saying I'm retiring and Julian saying being an Ohio State Buckeye, and he has very quickly picked up on things. Andrew, we talked about this, his ability to process stuff. I was asking him some of that stuff. He said the thing that he thinks translates to college football immediately is his ability to make decisions, him as a decision maker. And he said, because he's been around a lot of ball. He's talked a lot of ball in his life. He obviously didn't want to go there about the idea of like true freshmen starting and where he is in the hierarchy of things, but he fits the profile of what we're talking about when we're saying, hey, could a true freshman throw this on a loop and potentially be the starting quarterback here? But I agree with you. I think the real conversation here in terms of where the actual quarterback battle is right now, it's for QB2, because it does seem like at some point Will Howard is going to run away with this thing.
Yeah, I said this on Buckeye Talk on one of our podcasts when we were at Big Ten Media Days. Ryan Day got asked specifically about Julian Sayin, and he said processor. And that was the word that really got stuck in my head, and it is still lodged up there, that he is a fast processor, because I think that is the number one thing that I would look for if I was looking for a younger quarterback to start. A fast processor. So you got that check. He comes from an elite background. He's a 5-star quarterback. He's from California. Like the Quality of competition, check. The level of play, check. Who he is as a recruit, check. Like he's got a lot of these boxes checked, and I think the processing skill is very important to me, and I think that that's something that might not get him starting reps in the year 2024, but it might get him non-insignificant quarterback reps as a whole throughout the 2024 season.
Also mentioned that he had a relationship with Chip Kelly before Chip Kelly got here, obviously being at UCLA, and Julian Sayin being a California kid, but obviously he had a relationship with Bill O'Brien as well before Bill decided to move on and be Boston College's head coach. Also mentioned Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert. Those are the quarterbacks he watches. We'll continue to have this conversation about Ohio State's quarterback battle on Buckeye Talk, so go listen to that wherever you find podcasts and get the text 614-350-3315. 2-week free trial. Just 2-week free trial. And it's only $3.99 after that. See you guys later.